Welcome back to ISpeakSpokeSpoken. Today is our third week of doing live lessons. I'm seeing all of your lovely messages coming in. It's great to meet you, and it's actually my first one doing on my own as Adrian is around, but he's not here on the camera. So I'm sure he's saying hi to all of you as well. So keep the comments coming in, and I will respond to as many of them as I can while still teaching the lesson. So hello Francis, hello Evelyn, hi Christine, hi Joe, hi everybody. So yeah, put that hi in the chat, and I hope you're looking forward to today's lesson because I sure am. So yeah, hi everybody, and today we are going to be looking at the present perfect. I'm sure that some of you have already probably seen the present perfect before and probably used the present perfect before. However, even if you didn't realize you were using it. So what we're going to do is go through it, and it's always good to practice and go over things and make sure that you've got a solid foundation in what you're doing. As always, you can always let me know in the chat if I'm going too fast for you or too slow for you, and I can adjust my speed accordingly, because what matters is if you can understand. So let's have a look at what we have here. So the present perfect. When we hear perfect as a tense, what is the kind of thing that we're looking for? They're usually the tenses that people are the most scared of when it comes to learning English, but in my opinion, they are actually some of the funnest tenses to look at in English, because what they allow you to do is they allow you to go a lot further than the other tenses allow you. You see what I mean? With other tenses, you can talk about certain times, maybe the past, maybe what you were doing for a bit of time in the past. One second, I'm just going to turn on my charger so I don't suddenly just cut out. Whereas the perfect tenses, what they look at is how certain points of time, in time, they link to each other. And what is important is if we can talk about how one point in time links to another point in time, then we can really enrich how we're talking, because we can talk a lot more in depth about the things that we want to talk about. And the present perfect is no exception here. So let's now have a look at this wonderful tense. I'm going to put my screen on full screen for a moment, so I may not be able to see your messages as much. Okay, hi Marie. Nice to see that you have joined us today. And let's go. So we have the present perfect in English, a complete guide. So as it says here, the course is designed to provide you with a comprehensive understanding of the present perfect tenses in English. And as it says, it is a crucial aspect of the language, and it will enable you to link past actions or events to the present. And this is absolutely true. With this tense, we are looking at how things in the past relate to now. You see what I'm saying about times relating to each other? This tense is doing exactly that. It's relating things in the past, experiences, things that still affect now, and relating them to now. Let's have a look at the first point of this slide, shall we? Number one is understanding the present perfect, as always. So what we're going to look at to begin with is how we actually form the present perfect, because what's the point in knowing a tense unless you actually know how to use it or know how to understand it when someone speaks it to you. So first up, we're going to look at an affirmative sentence. Can anybody tell me what an affirmative sentence is in the chat? Okay, you can't see the text. I'm not sure, Adrian. Adrian. Sorry, I know that you are behind the scenes here. If we're able to make the text a bit bigger, I'm not sure if we can make the slides a bit bigger or anything. Oh, you see, he's already there. And yes. So, can anyone tell me why we use affirmative sentences? Are they either are we saying that we don't have something? Are we saying that something is, or are we questioning something? Can someone put that in the chat? And the first time I see that, I will move on. Okay, I will. I'm going to guess that someone is going to put one in soon. And hopefully you can see the text. I know it's a bit small. Can you all see the text now, the slides? I can see the slides here, but hopefully you guys can see them. We can always. I'm going to read through everything anyway. So even if you can't see them, we can always. I can always read through them for you, and then make sure that you've actually heard them. Okay. Ooh, I think that we're trying to make it a bit more visible for all of you. I will slowly carry on, guys, while that is being sorted out, because then we can just keep going. So, in the present perfect tense, we use the auxiliary verb. What is an auxiliary verb? So an auxiliary verb is a verb that we use in many tenses. Like, we have many different auxiliary verbs. And what auxiliary verbs do is they support another verb. So in the present perfect, we use the auxiliary verbs have when we're talking about many different pronouns, when we're using many pronouns, or has when we're using third person singular. So third person singular, as I'm sure many of you know, is he, she, or it. So we would say he has. If you want to follow along with me, you can say them at the same time. As I always like to say, no, don't feel silly saying them out loud. It's actually really good help and really good practice for you. So he has. If you want to repeat. One more time. He has. Again. Okay, so we're going to move on to she has. She has. Okay. And then also we use it as a third person singular as well. So we'd have it has. Absolutely perfect. Then one more time. It has. Great. And then all of the others, I have, you have, we have, they have, and if I've missed any others, I don't believe I have, but they all use have instead of has. So just remember, has is he, she, or it. Let me see any comments here. It's yeah, I know, guys. I'm so sorry that you're unable to see the text, but I'm going to try and explain everything to you as much as I can, and read everything out as we go so you get it. But yes, okay, let's go on to the first one here. So the way we make affirmative sentences, which are positive sentences, and when we're saying that something is, we use the form of subject plus have or has, like I just said. And then we use past participle. So what is the past participle? You may have heard the past participle in some other forms here. So we use the past participle, which is the third form of the verb. So we have 3 different forms, and this is the third one. So if you've ever gone through verb lists, this one will have been the third one. So let's have a look at an idea of using this. So I, which is the subject, I. Then we have, which is have or has, because we're using the pronoun I, so we're not going to use has. And then we use the past particle, which is eaten. Eaten. Great. So look, the eaten, we have the first form, which is to eat. Second form, which is ate, so I ate. And then the third form, which is eaten, which is our past participle. So eat, ate, eaten. And I hope that that helps you understand really what the past participle is. So I have eaten, or if we're using the third person singular, we have she has gone. She has gone. Great. Now let's have a look at how we make negative sentences, because we don't always just want to talk about positive sentences, right? We want to be able to express ourselves when talking about positives, negatives, questions, and we're going to move on to questions soon with our interrogative sentences. But for now, let's have a look at the negative sentences. First up, with our negative sentence, we use subject once again. And then once again, we have or has. And then after that, we use not. Our not is what is making this a negative here. So subject plus have, has, plus not. And then once again, we add in the past participle. So the only change here is the not. We are literally adding in the not after the have or has. So it's as simple as that. I know it might not seem very simple, which is okay, 100%, but just remember, you're going to add the not. Let's have a look at some examples here, shall we? So first up, we have, I have not seen. So I is our subject here. Have or has. Not, this is making it the negation. And then seen is our past participle of the verb to see. There we go. And now we're going to look at our third person singular, which is he. That is our subject. Has, remember, he has, not he have. This is important. Let's say that one more time after we've gone through this. Not stays the same, and finished. This is a normal verb, so we add the ed at the end, and then we have that one for our past participle. So if you want to repeat after me here, he has not finished. One more time, a bit slower. He has not finished. Really good job, guys. As I said last week, I can already hear you from England. So so you're doing something right. You're doing well. You're doing really well. I'm just checking out the comments here. So yeah, as Adrian said, just listen and I will explain everything, and you'll be able to download the slides after the course. So just remember that. And there we go. Let's move on with this to the interrogative sentences here. So these are questions. How do we ask questions in the present perfect tense? Very important, because how on earth are we going to ask people things? This is a big way of how we communicate. So let's look. We first start off with our what is it called again? With our auxiliary verb. And that is how we quite often start off sentences in tenses. So we start off with have or has, depending on who it is that we are talking about. Then we use subject, which is the person, I, you, we, he, she, they, it. And then we use the past participle again. Let's have a look and look through this, shall we? So have you heard? So remember here, we are moving have or has to the beginning of the sentence. So have you heard? Has she arrived? So that is how we're doing that. We are moving that auxiliary verb and bringing it back to the beginning of the sentence. And this is a really good way to remember and to realize if someone is asking you a question. If the auxiliary verb, the have, the has, the do, the does in other tenses, if they're at the start of the sentence, then you can pretty much be sure that someone is asking you a question. And that is a lot of power that gives you when it comes to your English, because you can then realize that someone's asking you a question, and then you know how to respond. I will also give you the advice that quite often when someone asks you something in one tense, that you should probably, that most of the time you should answer with the same tense, because they will ask you that question within the tense that that sentence should be in. So it's a good guideline as to which tense to use when talking back to them. All right. Now, as you can notice, as you've probably noticed, on this page, we have quite a few words that have red bits next to them. And what these are, they are words that we believe are quite complicated and that quite a lot of people probably get wrong sometimes, which is absolutely fine, but we're here to practice that, aren't we? So let's go over these words and I will say them, and then I want you to repeat them. And as I said, I can hear from England, so I will be waiting to hear you guys. And then I will say it again, and then you'll say it again, and then I'll move on to the next one. Let's now go on to the first one. So the first one is eaten. All right, guys, I heard that. One more time, and I want to hear more of you speaking. Eaten. Very good. Very good. Make sure you're getting that at the end. Let's now have a look at the next one. It's this one. Gone. Gone. Very good. Very good. And if you practice, like one thing that I will say is when I'm saying these, look at how my mouth is moving. Like I'm really going to enunciate, which means that I'm going to really go over the top with how I move my mouth. Because when practicing pronunciation, one of the best things to do is just follow what my mouth is doing. And by doing that, you will then get the pronunciation yourself. Next one, we have finished. Make sure you're getting that t sound at the end there. We'll do it one more time. Finished. Very good. Next one, we have heard. Heard. Yeah. And last but not least here, we have arrived. Arrived. And yeah, our stress is on the second syllable here. So arrived. Arrived. There you go. It's not going to be arrived. See? Let's move on, shall we? Okay, so number 2. When do we use the present perfect? What are the key uses? Let's take a look, shall we? So one of the key uses of this is an unspecified time before now. What does that mean? So when you're talking about a certain point of time in the past, when maybe you have a date or a time that you're talking about specifically, you are going to use the past simple, or and you are talking specifically about a certain time, so you're not going to use the past the present perfect there. But when we are talking about an unspecified time, it's not specific to any time in the past, and the exact time is not important. We can use the present perfect here. And here we're talking about experiences, changes, things that have occurred. And yeah, I mean, the present perfect is full of experiences. So if you have, as you can see, if you've gone on holiday, if you've been to America, we use this tense to talk about things that you have done. You see, when I'm saying that, I have to use this tense. I can't not use this tense to say that. So you will see that I am that this is how we say this. So, for example, she has visited Paris. It is something that she has done in her life. It's an experience. Experience, I think, is the perfect way of saying this. She has visited Paris. As we can see here, we have the person, she, the subject. Then we have has, our auxiliary verb, because we have the third person singular for she. Then we have visited, which is our verb in the past participle form, and then the rest of the sentence. Where has she visited? Paris. And yeah, as it says here, focus on the focus is on the experience of visiting Paris, not when the experience happened. We're not saying, you couldn't say she has visited Paris last week, or she has visited Paris on the 1st of April. No, we couldn't say this. That wouldn't be right. You would say she visited Paris on the 1st of April in the past simple tense. But if we're talking about someone's experience, where someone's asked you, oh, what countries have you visited in the last year? You might say, what countries have you visited? You might say, oh, I visited Paris, or I have visited Paris. I have been to Paris, or something like this, in the present perfect tense. Now let's move on to the next reason for using this tense, shall we? So we use this tense when we're talking about changes over time. So things that have over time gradually changed. And as you can probably say that this is also an experience. This is why I would say that I think the experience is probably the more overlapping part of this tense. But here is one of the subcategories here. So something that changes over time. So we're describing how that change has happened over a period leading up to the present. So it's how that change has happened and that is still happening. Like it still exists now, the fact that that changed. I hope that you guys are following. I'm going to see a couple of your comments here to make sure I'm not going too fast. Nope, it seems it's okay. So let's move on. And let's have a look at an example sentence of using the change over time. He has grown. If you want to repeat after me, he has grown. And this, what I know there's more of the sentence here, but what he has grown is saying is that he still has grown. It is something that still affects now. So let's read the whole sentence here. He has grown so much since the last time I saw him. Sorry, guys. I just ate a big lunch, so I'm still trying to speak while my food is going down. There we go. But here we go. So he has grown so much since the last time I saw him. So yes, since is a very, very, very popular word that is used within this kind of when you're talking about something that has changed over time, and you are explaining that it has happened since then. You're like, from the last time that you saw the person until now, that has happened. So since is how we use that word. If you want to repeat after me, let's go. So he has grown so much since the last time I saw him. I know it's quite a long one there. Let's go one more time. He has grown so much since the last time I saw him. Great. I, once again, just heard all of your amazing voices saying this in unison, which means that you're saying it at the same time. Great. now let's move on to the next reason for using this tense, shall we? We use this tense when we're talking about accomplishments. So if someone has accomplished if someone has accomplished something, they have maybe won in something, maybe they have a something that they're very proud of. Like that's what accomplishing something means. They've won at something, or they've done something that they set out to do. There we go. And this is completed during a time period that is not yet finished. So they have won 3 matches this season. One more time. They have won 3 matches this season. So in this sentence, what we're saying is up till now, that's how many they've... Oh, there we go. Sorry, something happened on the screen. So up till now, that's how many matches they have won. But as you can see, and not yet finished. That's what this is really saying. The season may not have even ended. So the season here hasn't ended. And what we're saying is up till now in the season, that's how many they have won. They have won 3 matches this season. So good job to them. Now let's look at, once again, I know I keep on saying it, but it really is pretty much one of the most important parts of this tense. It's life experiences. So the present perfect is ideal for talking about life experiences without specifying when they occurred. So here you don't have to say when something happened, but you can say that you did that and that you went to that country, you went to that place. This is very good for small talk, because when you are having a conversation with a colleague or someone that you've just met, maybe you want to just talk to them about, oh, where have you been this year? Oh, I've been to Spain. Or you want to express what countries you've been to in your life when you're talking to someone. And this would be the ideal way of expressing this in a conversation, because who doesn't like to talk about the holidays that they've been on, or the film or the movies that they've been to see in the cinema, or like just anything that is a life experience you could talk about in this tense, as long as you're not specifying when it occurred. That is the important part there. Let's have a look at our thing here, what it says. So, for instance, I've been in Spain 3 times. Okay, let's start here. I have been to Spain 3 times. So that's how many times that person has been. And who hasn't been in that kind of conversation with someone when you're talking about the things that have happened in your life, you're talking about your experience, and you want to express that. And now you can do that in English. So, but give yourself a pat on the back, because you've just unlocked another point of English. And that's what language is all about, isn't it? It's like a game where you unlock different levels and different parts. Let's now go back through these red words, shall we? We'll go through them fairly swiftly. So number 1, visited. Visited. Number 2, grown. Grown. 3, saw. Saw. Next one is 3. Make sure to get that sound. 3. Great. Season. Season. Instance. Instance. Spain. Spain. 3. 3. Great. Really good job, guys. And just keep following along, and you will get the pronunciation. Correct. Okay, so next we have another reason for using this, which is actions that are repeated in an unspecified period. So we can describe actions that have occurred multiple times in the past without a specific time frame. So let's look at our example here, and then we will look through it. So we have watched that movie several times. So what we're doing here is we're talking about something that is another experience, something that has happened, but we're talking about multiple times in the past that it has happened. And we're expressing that we have had that experience many times, and we can use this tense to express that as well. Let's now look over the time expressions with the present perfect. So yes, time expressions are commonly used with the present perfect, and they include already. If you want to repeat after me, already. Already. So already indicates that something has happened sooner than expected. You expected something to happen much later, and it happened sooner. So I have already finished my homework. It was finished sooner than expected. You see? So I have already finished my homework. That is good. Next up, we have yet. So we used yet in negative sentences and questions to talk about something that hasn't happened, but is expected to have happened. So have you finished your homework yet? This is something that I remember. This is something that English parents say a lot to their kids when they're asking them if they have finished their homework. And yeah, we're asking someone if something has been done yet. Have you finished your homework yet? They want to know if something has been done because they expect it to have been done. And last but not least on this page, we have just. So we use just to indicate something that has happened a short while ago. It is very recently happened. It has just happened. So we have an example here, which is she has just left the office. She has just left the office. It didn't happen hours and hours ago. You'd probably say it happened within the last 15 minutes, I'd say. That's where I would use just. Oh, she's just left. Or in the last 15 minutes, so it could be 5 minutes ago, it could be 20 seconds ago. She has just left the office. Let's go through some of these red words, shall we? Firstly, I will look to see if there's anything that you need me to tell you in the comments. I will keep on going back and forth towards the comments just to make sure that you are all following. Okay. Okay. I would love to help with the French comments, but unfortunately, I can't speak French, and you'd do a lot better at English than I would at French. So that's another thing to pat yourself on the back with. And I can see that Adrian is commenting as well. So he is on that. Let me see. Okay, no, there's nothing really. So I hope you guys are still following. And yeah, so she has just left the office. Let's look at our red words. So first up, we have movie. Movie. Next, we have several. Several. Yeah. Make sure to look at several here. We have our mark here and our mark down here. I don't know if you can see. I don't think you can actually see my my mark here, but just before the S in several and just after the V in several, we have two marks. And what these show is where the stress is in the word. And this is important because when we're saying words, I think in any language, when we have more than one syllable, most of the time we have a stressed syllable. Otherwise, it would just sound weird. And actually, the stress can really change a word, and it can actually distinguish between two different words. So have a look at how I say this. Several. Several. You see, the stress syllable is the sev. I'm not going several or several. That would be the difference between the stress. But several. Imagine you're going several and then back down again. And that's a good way of practicing that. You can find any way to show yourself where the stress is. I'm just going to get a glass of water quickly. There we go. And let's now look at the next one. Already. Already. The stress is on the red bit. Already. Not already or already. Already. Great. Next up, we have finished. Finished. There we go. Homework. Homework. We've already done finished. We can try again. Finished. Finished. Once again, homework. Homework. And our penultimate one, which means the second before last, we have left. Left. And last but certainly not least, office. Office. Great. Let's move on to our next one, shall we? There we go. And next one that we have, our word for kind of time and things. Time expression. We have ever. So ever, sorry, ever often is used with questions to ask about experiences at any time up to now. We use this one really with experiences. So if you were asking someone, have you ever been to Japan? The normal answer would be yes, I have. No, I haven't. And yes, ever is used to ask if someone has ever in their whole life had an experience of doing that thing. And next one here we have, which is never. Never. And what this indicates is that something has not happened at any point in someone's life. So if someone says, have you ever been to Japan? You could say, no, I have never been to Japan. If that has never happened in your life. Let's look at the example that we have here. I have never seen a shooting star. There we go. So that is how we use time expressions with the present perfect. Let's now have a look at the past participle and how to form it. And we had a little bit of a chat about this at the beginning, but let's go over it one more time here. So the past participle is a key element in forming the present perfect tense. Here's how you can form it. So regular verbs add ed to the base form of the verb. I have visited, you see, it's ed. Even though sometimes they sound a bit different because they sometimes have different sounds, but that's for a whole different video or live stream. But we definitely have a video that actually came out this week. So go over to the ISpeakSpokeSpoken channel and you can get that video once we finished over here. And you can check that out on how to pronounce ed correctly in English. But let's now talk about irregular verbs. Irregular verbs are a bit more tricky. I'm sorry, guys, but you will get it. And just keep going over them. Ways that I've seen other people doing it is just getting lists of all of the irregular verbs, and just every day saying them, talk, talked, talked. I mean, talked is a regular verb, but go, gone, been. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm losing it right now. Go, go, went, gone. See, saw, seen, and things like this. There we go. I had a brain freeze for a moment there. But yeah, just go through all of them. Keep reading them every day. And after a while, you will memorize them. They will just become natural, because that's how we want our language to be, isn't it? We don't want to be having to stress about everything when we're speaking. We want it to become something that we can just naturally use when we're speaking. So a regular verb could be like talk, talked, or watch, watched. Whereas irregular verbs, they don't follow a standard pattern, and they must be memorized. So go, gone, see, seen. We're not saying go, goed, see, seed. You see, that wouldn't make any sense. We want to use our irregular verbs, and that will make sense. Now let's go on to the last page and see what we have. We missed out on our red word. We have one here, and let's read it out. So it is Japan. Japan. Make sure that you are putting the stress on the second syllable, and you're falling off the j. Japan. Very good. Very good. Now we have a present perfect tense exercise. And what I want you to do is you can put them in the comments, or you can just say it out loud to yourself or think it. Please explain why we use the present tense in each of these sentences. So first up, I have never visited Australia, but I hope to one day. Why are we using the tense in this sentence? If you can let me know. And I'm sure, there we go. I'm sure that you've all got it. I'm just going to carry on, but I will be looking at the comments to see how you got them. So let's go here. So we're using this one because we're talking about an experience here, aren't we? So visiting Australia. Has this happened? Hasn't it happened? That is the question. And the answer is that this person has never visited Australia. You may have also talked about the fact that we have a time expression here, never. And we also have one day. They hope to one day in the future, but that's the extra part of the sentences. But I have never visited Australia. That is why we're using this. Number 2, she has just finished her homework, so she can relax now. Do you know why we use it in this sentence? Okay, I'll give you a second. All right, let me see the comments. Yep, really good, guys. Really good. I'm seeing that you are all putting time expression here, and also you put life experience. So actually, you've covered all bases here. There we go. Yeah. Okay, time expression 2. Yeah, exactly, guys. Yeah, so just finished her homework, so she can relax now. Really good. Oh, really good, guys. And next up, they haven't seen the new movie yet, but they plan to go this weekend. If you can put in the comments, why are we using it there? What do you think? There we go. Haven't seen the new movie yet. Yep, yet. Yeah, very good. I'm just waiting for the first one to come through, and then I will go. So yeah, yet, exactly. And also it's an experience. They haven't seen the new movie yet. That is an experience they haven't done. And as someone put in the comments, it is a result. Yeah, exactly. So the result in the last one, which is so she can relax now, and also in this one, kind of, it's saying that like it's not, it's less of a result, more of a we're saying what they plan on doing in the future. They're now moving. They're talking about the fact that they haven't done it in the past, and now they're talking about what they want to do in the future. Very good. Next up, we have, how many times have you eaten sushi this month? This one's a little bit different. Why are we using this one? How many times? Hi, Gather. Okay. I'm sure that you guys have got it. I'm going to see as you tune in. But the reason why we're using how many times here is because what we're saying is the amount, like the amount of times that something has happened. You see, we're talking about the frequency of that. How many times have you been? How many times have you eaten sushi this month? And it's also experience. Plus, the period of time is not finished yet. You see, a lot of the time when we're using this tense and other tenses, it's kind of a mixture of many different reasons why we use it. Let's now go to our penultimate one, which is, we have already booked our flights for the holiday. Why are we using that one? I'll give you another few minutes here, like maybe a minute. So we have already booked our flights for this holiday. Yep. Oh, great, guys. I'm seeing all of you tuning in and actually getting it right. You know, you're doing great. So yeah, already. Exactly, Sabrina. Really good. So they have already booked. We have already booked our flights for the holiday. It's something that has happened already, and it's a time expression here that we're using, and it has happened before they expected it to, sooner than expected. I'm going to move on now, and yeah, I can see that you're all putting in already and time experience, so you got that perfectly. And last but certainly not least, we have, he has lived or has been living in London for 3 years now. Why are we saying that one? He has lived or he has been living in London for 3 years now. Why do you think we use that one? There's a good, yeah, for 3 years. Really good. I can see that. And yeah, it's something that started in the past and is still affecting now. You see, they're still living there. They still live there. You see, it's not something that they've stopped doing. It's actually something that is still happening. It's still something that is real there. And that's why we have the present perfect continues here as well, has been living, because that one is talking about something that is still happening to this day, or he has lived in London for 3 years, can be used in a very similar way. And I'm sure that at some point we will probably do a present perfect continuous one, or I'm sure that you can head over to ISpeakSpokeSpoken English when those videos do come out at some point, talking about the tenses. So that is it for these slides here, and I really am thankful to you guys for following along, and you've done so well. So give yourself a pat on the back, give yourself a clap, and you're still you are still talking here about things that are going on with the tense. So I'm really happy. You should be very happy and proud of yourself. Just keep practicing. Remember that even after this has finished, this live, you can always go back and watch it again on ISpeakSpokeSpoken or ISpeakSpokeSpoken English or other social medias that ISpeakSpokeSpoken are on. So I thank you all very much. It has been so much fun, as always. And I look forward to seeing you in the next live stream. So have a great one. Yep, get our course as we have just put up there. And yes, we will see you very soon. So yeah, click that link and get our course with a free test. So yeah, go over there and get that. Nice one, guys. All right. Have a good one. Bye-bye.